we can achieve a look, as close to that 1980s, cartoons that we can get, as close as we can get to it. I mean, we can't achieve it completely because, it's all done in computers, but I think we can definitely, get that feel.
I watch the same thing as everybody else. They like Transformers, like Thundercats, He-Man, stuff like that, and just like loved it. Had all the toys, and
I found the fast-paced nature of stuff like Transformers, Thundercats, G.I. Joe really appealing. Of course, you've got more anatomically humanistic proportioned characters. It was like a living, breathing, animated comic book sort of look to it. So really appealing to me as a child. And
in the 80s had such a grandiose idea as of having cartoons with toy lines, which meant as a young boy, I had the opportunity to, you got your action figures and you can watch your cartoon. How fucking cool was that?
Yeah, it seemed everything was really well tied together. All the cartoons and toys and animated He-Man stuff that were engineered for merchandise and everything. Like they must have made a mint off of it, but as a kid you don't care. You want to associate the kick-ass toys with the kick-ass show. And
I don't know if kids today, I don't know if they watch a cartoon show today and go outside and act it out and play as those characters and actually use their imagination. Because when I was a kid, I'd watch whatever cartoon show I was watching, and I'd have an action figure to go along with it.
Oh, totally.
And it'd be the best thing. As a kid, it was the greatest thing that could ever happen. Mm-hmm. And later on in life, I found out that parents groups and things like that definitely wanted to put an end to it because you got toy companies running cartoons. Mm-hmm. But as a kid, who gives a shit? Like, you want the opportunity to use your imagination and have a good time and just have fun with those cartoons. They tamed everything down. They made it fucking suck because you didn't have a villain or characters who would give your hero a run for his money, so to speak. Like, they didn't like the idea of having a villain that was pure and utter evil and didn't have any real reason for existing other than the fact that they're evil.
Bad guy.
Yeah, they're just evil by nature. They don't have a goal. They're just, other than destroy and conquer the universe or the world or whatever. You need a villain for your hero to go up against that is definitely, gives them a challenge, puts them in really dire situations, fucks their life completely, because it makes you want to watch the show. What happens next? Rather than who gives a shit what happens next. Yeah. And that didn't just pop up in the 80s, that was going on, that went on in the 60s. The 60s now, that had a generation of cartoons that were absolutely phenomenal. Hanna-Barbera put out some amazing stuff.
The voice acting, the storylines are just so much more compelling than stuff produced nowadays. Nowadays they really try to gear it towards children, what might children like, and so they oversaturate the market with blind shots in the dark with all kinds of stuff, and so there's just tons and tons of crap, and they're literally telling us what we should or shouldn't like, and too brightly colored, and really trying to engineer it towards what's the next Pokemon and SpongeBob. That's all they care about. While whoever produced stuff like He-Man, Transformers, Astro Boy, G.I. Joe, and even stuff from the 40s, 50s, and 60s of the Looney Tunes stuff, they just did what they thought as adults would be cool if they were kids, and it worked, and that was it. That's all they had to focus on, was if it makes them laugh or if it makes them feel like it's a very dynamic story and really a good voice acting, voice performance, and good designs and animation, then kids will follow through, and they always did. But
cartoons in the 80s and the 70s were based solely on artwork. The animation was the last thing on people's minds. Like, how well is he moving? Like, who gives a fuck about how well he's moving. Watching cartoons when you're between, I don't know, 6 years old and 12 or whatever the hell how old you are. You're not thinking how cool that animation was.
No.
But I'll tell you what people do see is quality. They recognize, they can recognize the difference between a round blob shit and like something like that. You see it immediately.
Yeah.
And you know, it's definitely not the best animation in the world, but I'll tell you, it's some of the best looking artwork that you've ever seen.
Dave is our background guy. He's been going pretty much almost since we started designs and storyboards, and he's been doing some amazing artwork, which like we were saying before is probably another one of the things that's going to make this production stand out is like the hand painted backgrounds.
It's one of the biggest reasons why I think this show is going to look as different as it's going to look, not just because of the characters or how it's drawn, but because of how the backgrounds are treated, the painted backgrounds. That opening pan of the city that you'll see when you watch the video, it's like you pan from the stars down through this city and then you truck in on a building, and it's just you can see the quality immediately, and there's just, it's such a different feel than what you see traditionally now, especially with Flash. We couldn't achieve the look that we wanted to achieve without his talent and his contribution to the project, which has just been astronomical, absolutely phenomenal. We can't say enough about his ability.